Today, I'm going to help you become a better writer by answering some common creative writing questions. Welcome to Kauffman Writes. I'm Kauffman, and this is my daily creative writing live stream. Your creative writing questions answered. So, as someone who has always felt the urge to write, how do you suggest I start? I'm like, that is an as. So, as someone who has always felt the urge to write, how do you suggest I start? I get this type of question from new writers all the time. The easiest way to start is pick up a pen, grab a piece of paper, and just start writing whatever comes out right now. Uh, yeah. And then another option is, let's say you want to do something even easier. Pull out your phone, pull open the notes app, and then just start writing whatever comes to mind. That's super easy. Nothing that would be even more strenuous than if you were posting like a social media message. Now, if the real question is, oh, you know what? I feel like I can write, I just don't know what to write about. You have a couple options, right? So usually I suggest is figure out what inspires you, whether that's a TV show, a book, family, friends, stories, or life. Pick one inspiration and then start your first story from there. Like it could be, you could start like a fact for fact, like this is the story you want to write about, or you could do something nonfiction, like based on it. But that's always the best place to start as a reference. Now, if you're like, all right, well, I don't feel like I have any good stories to tell, then my suggestion is go online, find a random, type in pictures, pick like a genre, something that interests you. I always like to do fantasy pictures because I'm a huge nerd. Google the picture that you like, pull it up, and then use that as inspiration for a free write. It's kind of a creative way to like get your inspiration started just by picking some random image online. If you're hopping into the live stream or if you're watching on the replay, feel free to drop a question down in the comments and I would be very happy to answer it for you. Question number 2. Please give me ideas about creating a detective universe. So I wanted to include this one because I wanted to include more situational examples to depending on what type of story you're trying to tell. So if I was going to write a detective universe, first off, the one thing I'm always going to tell you to start at, who is your hero? Who's your protagonist? Who is the story that everything revolves around? So important. One of my screenplays is actually like the protagonist is actually a detective. So in a detective universe, you want to establish who's your detective and what type of detective do you want the story to revolve around? Are you thinking more a like classic detective with the trench coat, like Inspector Gadgetish, maybe? Or you think of something more like Sherlock Holmes, classic detective? Or is it something that's going to be like a little more new age? The great thing is you get to decide, you get to have fun with it. Figure out what type of detective you want, what's the personality you want, and then what's the mystery that they need to solve. I think one of a really great indie film that did a very good job on a detective like noir was a Brick. I want to say it's been a few years since I've seen it, but that was a good classic. Now, once you have the detective, once you have the story mapped out, then you can figure out, all right, what is like the type of universe that you want to tell, right? Is this going to be the detective who they're going to find clues by interrogating people, by going to different settings, or is it something where they're going to find clues by the dead bodies, the trail of dead bodies that they come across? I think a detective character I love Jessica Jones. She was a great detective character. Hopefully she comes back to the Marvel universe, and because she was a detective but severe alcoholic, and that strength and weakness made it difficult for her to be a great detective. Yeah, so those are my that's just a couple suggestions for fleshing out your world when you're creating a detective universe. If you found any value out of these questions, don't forget to like and or subscribe to this video based on what platform you're on. That way you'll be notified when I go live in the future or whenever I post new videos. Question number 3. As a student, how do I structure creative stories for school? So, if you're going to school for creative writing, as I very well know, I did a BA in creative writing over at the over in Riverside. It was a great experience. What I learned is that a lot of your success is going to come from you and you alone. So the type of story that you want to tell and how much time and effort and energy you put into it is generally going to be determined by you. Now, this could be different if based on different creative writing programs, but my recommendation is first off, recognize what are the requirements of the assignment. It's probably going to be a different set of expectations if you're doing your first assignment for a creative writing class as compared to a thesis, right? So first, what are the requirements? And then second, outline the world and structure the story based off what the assignment is. If it's pretty open, which sometimes it tends to be, or other times it might be like you need to have X amount of characters, or you need to have this type of dialogue, or it needs to be structured in like a 3-act structure, right? Based on what you're doing. And then once you have that basis and that foundation, pick a story that interests you. Think of a TV show, think of a book. I always say, think of what inspires you, and then you can go from there. Bonus question. If you could have any ability or power, what would it be? And how would you turn that into a story? You know what? I put this down, but then I didn't really think about what I would want to do. If if you could have any ability or power, what would it be? And how would you turn that into a story? I pose this question to you. If you were going to turn this into a story based on any type of like magic ability or superhero ability, which one would you have and what type of story would you want to tell? Post it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your ideas. I always love not just collaborating, but hearing how so many different types of writers can hear the same question, statement, or prompt and then go in many different directions. For me, I would probably ooh, what's a fun one? Actually, there was a character I created recently, which like their power was super cool. The ability to travel through shadows. And I was like, all right, that was kind of a fun ability. Um, oh, you know what? I know exactly which one I would choose. I would choose the ability to bring stories, worlds that I create to life. So if I created a character, then I would bring it to life. Or I could erase it. Hopefully. I've seen that done in a couple of different stories where, like a writer creates this like crazy character, they come to life and they screw everything up. So that's the type of story that I would bring to life. What if you could have an ability or power, what would it be? And then how would you turn that into a story? I'd love to hear it down in the comments below. And don't forget to like and or subscribe this video. So that way you'll be notified when I come out with new creative writing tips, tricks, strategies, games. Might do some games at some point. We'll see. And all good things creative writing. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Kauffman, and I'm going to catch you on the flip side.